up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Orange County. This is season 17, and in this video, we're going to be talking about episodes 3 and 4. I know I'm late. It's been a lot going on, but let's get into the review. So episode 3 opens up and we see Heather and her family sitting down to eat dinner. Them ribs look good. And we all know that her two oldest kids are going off to college. You know, it's a bittersweet moment for them. I don't know if people have seen it, but recently I saw Giselle and the video she posted about leaving her oldest daughter at FAMU because she's going to college down there. And if you don't know, FAMU is in Florida. And she was just talking about how she felt like she left something in Florida when she was back in the DMV area. And she's just like, I don't know how to feel. And I was mad because I felt for Giselle because I don't like Giselle. But you can tell that Giselle loves her kids the same way you would tell Heather loves her children. Like when your parents really love you and you have a good relationship, like when parents have good relationships with their kids, going off to college is normally bittersweet because it's like, that is your baby, pretty much. And I remember when my parents dropped me off, they were crying, I was crying, and like partly because I didn't want to be there, but it turned out to be the best school for me. But it's a mixture, you know, like it's a mixture of emotions. You're happy that your kids are about to have this wonderful experience of school, it's experiencing new things, making friendships, be able to have like stories to tell, because I got stories to tell. And really enjoying like turning into like an adult. And your parents are also learning their new normal of what it's like to not have their kids around and getting back to focusing on themselves and things of that nature, but they still miss having you there. It feels like something's missing. So I understood what she was saying. I also understood what the daughter was saying. Like, girl, the water pressure in them dorms is trash. And I know it's to conserve energy and probably reduce the cost of the water bill. But it's like the water is either too cold or it's not hot enough or the pressure just be off. And it's like I done sudded my body up and I got to stay in the shower an extra 10 minutes to get all this soap off. And don't get me started when you need to shampoo and condition your hair. And this 4C hair be going through it. It was going through it in them dorms. So we have that. We also find out that they're planning on moving to Los Angeles, and I think they had Heather and Terry and the other kids have moved to Los Angeles. Even though they're like overthinking about it, they moved. Someone posted the article that said that they got someone to purchase their home, the home that they're in on the show, for $55 million. So she out. And a lot of people are speculating whether or not Heather is going to transition to Beverly Hills now that we see that some of the women are going between Housewives franchises, like Taylor is now on here. But I don't know. I don't know if I see Heather on Beverly Hills. I actually enjoy Heather on OC. She adds something to the show. Her dynamic is needed. She brings the fancy to the show, the money to the show. And the funny thing is, I had to Google. I was like, what is Heather's sign? And finding out that she's a January Capricorn like me, I was like, this is why I be resonating with Heather some of the times. I be like, girl, that makes sense. And when they be trying to play Heather, I be like, no, you just mad because she clocked you and she got you, you know? And we going to talk about that in episode 4 because Heather wrapped Taylor up. Heather wrapped Taylor up and put a fancy bow on it at the end of that episode. But Heather wants to get back into acting, and people actually have been posting clips of Heather acting back in the day, and it wasn't bad. I was like, okay, Heather. Okay, Heather was really. I said, Heather can actually act. I said, okay, bitch, I see you, and I like what I'm saying. So let's talk about Emily's scene. So we see Emily taking her kids to Shane's parents' house. Their house is actually really nice, to go swimming. I'm trying to figure out, does Emily not practice anymore? Like, she's just a stay-at-home mom now? Like, what? Like, that has never made sense to me, especially with women. Like, you go to school to become a lawyer or a doctor or like a profession, like have a professional career, and then the moment you get married, you just drop it. All them tears that I have cried to get these degrees, I'm using them. I'm using them. Like I'm not. If I didn't want to go to school, I wouldn't go to school for them. But I was just like, I guess she's a stay-at-home mom now that Shane works, and I'm hoping Shane makes a cute coin to keep the house upkeep. Cause ain't no way I'm gonna give up my job just to feel some man's ego of being the breadwinner, and I'm living in squalor. But she takes the kids over to the grandparents' house. And the scene was awkward to me because Emily is telling the parents about like how she wants to have a better relationship with her mom. Like she wants to be able to communicate with her mom regularly, the way Shane is able to talk to his parents, like be able to call her mom or text her mom and see how she's doing, and they have this relationship. But she was just kind of like, it's hard because my sister told me my mom's therapist said that we're toxic, but it doesn't also seem like my mom wants to try to have this relationship. And so Shane's idea was like, well, maybe extend the olive branch, like start off small, send pictures of the kids going on vacation, like when they were at the beach. And so she did that. But I thought the scene was weird because it really didn't seem like there's this great relationship even between Shane's parents and Emily. Like it feels very like sterile, I guess. I guess that's the word I'm trying to say. Like it didn't seem like they had like a very like warm relationship. And what the mom was saying is kind of true. You got to meet people where they at. That's kind of what she kept saying. Like it is what it is. Like, girl, either you can take your mom or you can leave her. And I also was like, why is nobody watching them kids in the pool? Why is nobody watching those kids in the pool? We then see that the oldest daughter wants to be in the entertainment. And I can see that. The way that she was mimicking Emily when they were in the drive-thru, I can see it. Although Emily seems like her daughter annoys her, but I think all three of them kids annoy her. That's why I don't understand why you want to be a stay-at-home mom. I do not want to be around my kids until they're like middle school age where we can have conversations. Because they seem like a lot. Them kids seem like a lot. So Gina. We then see Gina, Charlotte Roos Gina at home, and she's pretty much like her and Travis are still like studying to get their license for real estate. And I don't know, I feel like this studying they're doing is bare minimum coming from Gina. I think Travis will probably pass his because the question that Travis asked Gina was very simple, and the fact that she got it wrong kind of threw me off. Because the question pretty much was like, you are, let me think. I think I wrote it down. Oh, it says, a broker is so busy that he never has time to return the phone calls of his principals. This practice is A, acceptable, B, mandated, C, discouraged, or D, prohibited. And she said D, prohibited. I said, there's nothing that says you have to pick up anybody's phone call. I was like, that's easily the word discouraged. And she was like, oh, okay. That's why I feel like this whole real estate license thing is like a storyline. And now Gina wants to harp on this storyline of Jen trying to justify her infidelity. And it doesn't really seem like Jen is trying to justify her infidelity. It just seems that she is still partly ashamed of what she did. So when she speaks about it, she kind of goes in circles. And it's like she adds too much because she wants to explain herself. And I've learned that like when you add too much to explain yourself, it's because you want everybody to understand you and really understand where you're coming from. So you feel like if you give them the full picture of everything, like what time it was, how you was feeling the week prior, and all the things that you're going through, that maybe the person will be able to be understanding on why you did what you did or why you reacted to a certain situation. And I don't really feel like Jen is trying to justify her cheating. I just think she's trying to explain what happened. And even if she is trying to justify her cheating, I don't understand why that is such a trigger to Gina when it's like, sis, if you were healed per se, the way you keep saying how you're moving on, then this lady talking about her infidelity would not be that big of a deal. So it's just feeling like Gina is trying to make this her storyline, because I feel like this storyline about her trying to get her license is falling flat because no one cares. I know I don't. And what happened to her doing the whole skincare brand? Like, why isn't that her focus of trying to make that a big deal? Or cement that as being one of the products that people use in the facial and skincare industry. So we have a scene of Jen going to meet up with Tamra, and pretty much they're meeting up at Cut Fitness. They're going over like all the stuff that they're selling, the equipment, what's not being sold, and Jen and Tamra are having like, you know, reminiscing about when they first met in the gym, how Jen met Ryan in that gym, and it was just a staple in their community. So it's kind of sad that it's going away. So Jen pretty much tell Tamara, girl, you was tripping. You was tripping. You was tripping. You was tripping. You was tripping on that boat. Okay, you was tripping on that boat. Shannon apologized. She seemed very remorseful, and you told her to go f a duck. And Tamara's like, I did? Oh my gosh, you know, I remember yelling at Emily, but I don't really remember like what really happened. She was like, I can't be drinking like that. And I heard a rumor online that Tamara really does not drink until she starts filming for these shows, which I can believe because I feel like a lot of Tamara's outbursts, alcohol was in it, was probably involved. But Tamara's like, yeah, you know, I think it's just the emotions of us we're closing our business, we're doing this, we're doing that. It's a lot, and I miss my friendship with her. Like, we were really close friends. So then they start talking about the situation between Tamara and Jen, how Jen and Tamara's relationship actually took a nosedive or started suffering when Jen started messing around with Ryan, because Tamara was like, we were under the impression that they were like just cool. We didn't think that they were having an affair. And then we find out that Jen's husband found Jen's husband found her and Ryan in the car together. Jen is like, ain't nothing happened in the car. We were just in the car together. But I mean, an emotional affair, a lot of people feel like it's worse than a physical affair. To me, they're both bad. But an affair is an affair. Like, you're still outwardly deceiving somebody and starting a relationship with another person who you claim to be monogamous with. It's wrong on all sides. But Tamara brings up about how they were going on a trip to Cabo. It was the four of them, and Tamara felt some type of way that Ryan told Eddie and her that pretty much they were like messing around, and Tamara felt like Jen should have told her, but Jen admits that, like, you know, she was ashamed and embarrassed about, you know, actually engaging in this relationship, that she didn't want to tell anybody. So at the end of this conversation, not Shannon, but Jen basically told Tamara that she should extend the olive branch or an olive branch to Shannon if she would like to build her relationship back up with her, if you miss her in that way. We then see this scene of Shannon in the car with David going to a crystal shop, because we know Shannon like her crystals and berries and juices. But I didn't understand why he made her climb out on the other side. But what's funny to me is I was like, maybe it's because the car sits too low, but nobody, like, Shannon got stuck. And I was like, anybody would get stuck. Anybody over the age of like 13 would get stuck climbing over from the passenger side to the driver's side, because there's an armrest there. If there was nothing there, like if you were in the back seat, it would be totally easy for you to just like scoot your butt over there to get over there. But it definitely was like, I was like, dang, Shannon. But then I'm like, John, why would you park here if you know this the sidewalk is very high and you don't want nobody like messing up your car? And then I'm like, how are y'all going to get back in the car? Is she going to have to climb back over to get in the... that's doing too much. Just let me sit in the back of the car. Let me sit in the back seat. They show up to this crystal shop because Shannon is talking about how, I guess, one of her sessions with one of her energy healers, they said she takes on a lot of other people's energy and like emotions. So she doesn't really want that. So she pretty much tells the lady there, could you help me find a new crystal or something I can use to keep on my body as I'm like maneuvering around the world. She gets a phone call from Tamara. Tamara on the phone trying to fake cry and be like, I'm really sorry. Like, I know I don't want to make any excuses. You know, I'm just going through a lot and I'm just really sorry. And I want us to get back to a better place. And I'm just really sorry. And you can tell that Shannon didn't know how to respond to it. Like, she didn't even want to pick up the phone. And so she picks it up and she's just kind of like, ugh, girl. And she just like she accepts the olive branch because Tamara invites her to the party at the end that they're having for Cut Fitness. It's supposed to be like hibachi theme. And Shannon, she's like, okay, I'll be there. But when she gets off the phone, she actually gets really emotional when she's talking to John about it. And she's just kind of like, I'm tired of pretty much acknowledging her feelings, but she never acknowledges mine. Like, I've apologized for the way that I made her feel. She never does that for me. And I'm tired of doing that. And John's whole thing is like, well, you got to forgive people. Forgiveness is for you. Yeah, I guess. Because you don't have to forgive and you can still move on, to be honest. Y'all, this beef that is brewing between Heather and Taylor is funny as hell to me. It is hilarious to me. So we have this scene where we see Heather go over Taylor's home, and Taylor is excited because she has an acting coach coming over. And before the acting coach gets there, they're talking, and Heather's looking at the script, and Taylor's like, oh my gosh, are you excited? Did you get the script? And Heather's like, I did not think she was serious about being in the movie, like giving me a part in the movie. We find out that this movie that's being shot, it's being shot in Oklahoma, and Taylor got offered the position because I guess the director or one of the people that is in production asked her to be a part of the role because this is their movie that they are directing and filming. So Heather, they start talking about the text messages. So Heather's like, I get a video of like this like office space, and I'm like, what is this? And Taylor's like, oh girl, this is the set in progress. This is the photos from the movies. And Taylor's like, yeah, I sent her photos for the movie because, girl, this is what we're doing. And Heather sends back to Taylor like, you're serious? Like, OMG, you were serious? Because when Taylor asked Heather about being a part of the movie, Heather was drunk. Heather was like, girl, that was a drunk yes. But this is how you know Heather is really into like her craft, or like she really was an actor back in the day, is because Heather in her confessional starts being like, well girl, you can't just give somebody a part. You have to have like a casting director reaches out. They have to ask, am I available? Is this a union or non-union production? What specifically is my role? What's the pay scale? She was like, what are the reshoot dates? Like, production needs to contact me. You can't just give me a part. Like, you can't just do that. So we finally meet the acting coach. It's a really cute black lady named Lauren, and she's real about her stuff. She was a Broadway performer. I think she still is. She was in several productions, even one that Heather had seen. And so they come in there, they do a actual like reading of their lines. I thought Taylor did okay. And the lady Lauren is explaining to her, like, when you speak, you need to speak from, your gut, from your hoo-ha. And I was giggling, but Heather was like, that's something that they tell people to do. Cause I guess you're able to emote more, or I don't know. I was like, I just couldn't stop laughing at that lady being like, hoo ha, hoo, hoo, he ha, hoo. I was like, girl, okay. But Heather don't want to be a part of this. Heather does not want to be a part of this. So it's time for the end of Cut Fitness. They're having the celebration party. Their business was open for 10 years. I thought the cake was cute with the 10-pound kettlebell on there. 10 years to have a business open is nothing to laugh at. A lot of businesses we know close within the first 3 to 5 years of opening. So the fact that they were able to keep their business open that long and garner that much revenue, they should be proud of themselves. I'm still kind of confused why they're closing down the business, because it does seem like a lot of people are interested in it, but maybe letting it go is a lot more lucrative for them instead of keeping it open. We see everybody is there to support Tamara and Eddie. We even see her son, who gives very, very, very much vibes of January 6, 2021 energy. I would ask him, where were you on the 6th? Where were you on January 6th, sir? He gives that. So everyone's there. We see the awkwardness between Shannon and Tamara when she gets there. Tamara hugging on Shannon, and you can tell Shannon was uncomfortable. I would have told Tamara to get off me. I'm like, girl, we not that cool. So chill. You doing too much. So we then see this scene of Gina and what's her name? Gina and Heather standing off to the side. And they're standing off to the side, and Gina is showing Heather a video of Jen and her business where it's like, I guess she was doing one of the TikTok trends of music and stuff. And it was pretty much like they were happy that their business was still open, because it said, the caption was like, we're so proud that we're still here. And Gina was like, I'm actually surprised that she was here. Heather was like, yeah, that's tone deaf, and she better hope Tamara don't see it, because when Tamara get mad, all bets are off. So you then see everyone sit down to eat. They're about to start doing the hibachi. And Gina tells Jen, I'm surprised that you're here, girl, because you know that video you posted. And Jen is like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, she's confused. And then things take a turn, because Gina's like, well, girl, you posted that video. And then Tamara's like, what are y'all talking about? And Jen was like, well, I posted this video. It was a TikTok trend. And we were like, we're happy that we're still here. And that was no shade to your business. But then Tamara's like, well, I can see where Gina's coming from. Like, I would take that as shade. And I was glad that Jen looked at Tamara and was like, seriously, Tamara, you think I would shade your business like that? And she was like, Tamara's like, well, no, I don't think you would. So, and Jen's looking at her like, then why are you playing these games? And then she tells Gina, like, that's crap. Like, why are you bringing it up? That's crap. And I was like, yeah, like, I mean, it was definitely tone deaf, like Heather said. Like, the timing was off. So then they chuck it up to timing, because that's really what it was. It's like, girl, you're going to this, your friend's business that is closing, that I guess did not survive the pandemic, and you're online. Like, you could have kept that one in the draft, and maybe a month later, then play it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I don't think it's wrong for her to like celebrate the fact that they're still here, because a lot of businesses did not survive the pandemic. And if you were able to survive, that's something that I would be happy about too. So everyone disperses after they're eating. They're now like, everyone's just mingling in the party. And we then see this scene where it's Jen, Taylor, Tamara, Gina, and Emily. And they're talking about the whole situation again, about her and Ryan, how she met Ryan at Cut Fitness, and how, she's just so surprised that the business is closing. And then Emily gets in a lawyer mode where she pretty much interrogates Jen, and she's like, well, explain the timeline to me. How did y'all really come together? Like, was he in Oklahoma when you were here with Ryan, or was he still here in Orange County? And Jen is like, no, he was still here in Orange County. So she was like, so you were cheating on him while he was still here. And like, you can't Emily's whole thing is like, you can't be upset if people are looking at you like, girl, you sent your husband to Oklahoma, so it gave you the opportunity to cheat more conveniently. And Jim was like, well, when I told him to go to Oklahoma, I wasn't telling him to go to Oklahoma so I could mess around with Ryan. I told him to go to Oklahoma because, that was the best thing for our family at the time. And I mean, it does sound, it don't sound the greatest, but you got Gina being like, I can't sit over there. I'm not sitting here while we're all pretending that like infidelity is okay. I'm like, Gina, why are you trying to act like this is such a big deal? Like it is, but it isn't. Like, I just can't understand why Gina wants to make this her personality. We then get to the end of the episode where they're cutting the cake. Tamara slapped the ish out of Emily because they were throwing the cake around. I'd have mushed the hell out of Tamara's face, because it was like, you heard the pop of it. I was like, Tamara, you doing, like, if anybody would have did that on Atlanta, Potomac, or New Jersey, somebody would have got punched in the face. Somebody definitely would have got punched in the face. Like, it would have been a melee, because girl, she smacked Emily in the face. And I knew it was a smack because Shane was like, oh, I could not do that without getting beat up. And everyone else was like, yeah, me neither. So that was a hard hit. It was a hard hit. There was no need for Tamara to hit Emily that hard, because I'd have mushed Tamara. But that's how this part of the episode ended. So let's move on to episode 4. So episode 4, this one might be all over the place because I got a lot of thoughts about this episode. So we see Emily take her daughter to get headshots. I thought it was nice that she's trying to support her kid in their dreams, although we know the entertainment industry is not really a safe place for everybody. But it's nice that she's supporting her kid. Emily tells us about her childhood again. We all know that her dad left her mom, which put a financial strain on the mom. So then the mom had to leave and take numerous jobs to sustain her household, which didn't leave the mom time to build a relationship with Emily and her sister. And that's why we have the mom who is very distant and dismissive. But Emily does not want to be that with her kids, so she does want to support them in their endeavors, which I think is wonderful. I think it's genuinely wonderful. So we find out that the ladies are going to Montana. We see a scene where we see Heather, Tamara, and Jen at one of the places to get flannel and cowboy hats. I don't know if this trip is for Tamara's birthday, but when Heather came into the boutique that they were at, she had a bottle of champagne for her and said happy birthday. So I'm thinking this is a birthday trip for Tamara. They get to talking about Jen and Ryan again. Heather asks Jen, like, well, how long have you been with Ryan? And Jen is like, well, it's been 2 years, and Heather's like, were you divorced when you got with him? And Jen is very upfront. She was like, no, we basically had an affair. Pretty much, I was with my husband, still married, and this is where we at with it. This is what happened, and this is where we're at. And Heather's kind of surprised. And Jen ends up saying, like, it's pretty much an emotional affair. Like, me and Will weren't even sleeping, which is her ex-husband, weren't even sleeping in the same rooms. He was in a different room. I was in a different room, but I was actively still creating a relationship and a conversation with Ryan. And Tamara in her confessional is pretty much like, sometimes Jen be telling like too many different sides of the same story that it feels like she's not telling the truth. But I really do think she's telling the truth. I just think she's giving y'all more information because she wants it to make sense to y'all, or not to really, because I still think she still feels some type of way about what she did, because no one wants to be labeled like a cheater. Like, even men who cheat, even they don't wear it with a badge. I don't know. Well, Ryan seems to wear being a cheater with like a badge of honor, because we find out that Ryan is a known cheater. He's a known playboy, and I mean, my thing about it when it comes to Ryan and Jen is, Jen can have fun with Ryan, but I would not be planning my life as Ryan being a part of it. And I think that is what's going to get her in trouble, because Heather even said, if he told you he's a cheater, then believe him, because he's telling you the truth. And it's also giving, like, I'm telling you I'm a cheater, so if I do cheat, you can't be that mad because I told you up front that I cheat on people. Because then we find out that Jen and Ryan went on like a break. And during that break, he started messing around with a girl that he's known to mess around a lot with. Tamara even confirms it. So I'm just kind of like, I would have my fun with him. It seems that when Jen was with her ex-husband, they were very much like very conservative, very repressed. I don't know how to get down in Oklahoma, but the pictures that they show of Jen when she was with her husband, she does not look the same. Like, it looks like the OC really, like, sprinkled fairy dust on her, and she became one of the blonde women out there in that area. So she looks different. So I do feel like she's just having fun with Ryan, but I would not be so like, this is my man, this is my love, this is my forever. Because we then see a scene of Jen where her and Ryan are like in their bedroom. He's like massaging her back because her back hurts. And she brings up about, everyone looking at them funny, and his talking to him about his past and this and that. And I'm just kind of like, well, I do believe people have the ability to change, but change only comes when you show it. And if Ryan has not really like proven himself to not be a cheater, then how do you really know he's not going to cheat on you? Like, that would always be in the back of my mind, that like, I got with a man that's prone to cheat, so I need to be prepared for whatever comes my way with him. But that's just me. That's just me. We then see the other ladies, so Shannon, Emily, and Gina doing the same thing at a different shop, looking for outfits for Montana. And they start talking. They talk about Tamara. Emily brings up to Shannon that she was surprised that Shannon and Tamara seemed to be cool. And Shannon was like, yeah, she just apologized, but it was very like abrupt. Like, I'm sorry, let's move on. She isn't acknowledging the way she hurt me. And Shannon also talks about, that happens a lot, being friends with Tamra. Like, Tamra hurts you, and then she just wants to apologize and move on, but she doesn't really want to take accountability. And I think that segues for Gina to bring up Jen again about feeling triggered and how she's uncomfortable and how she feels like, I don't like her trying to justify infidelity. And then Shannon's like, yeah, it's triggering as well. And I feel like even if she is trying to justify her infidelity, what is it to y'all? Especially Gina. Like, I'm like, she's not sleeping with yo man. She's not sleeping with Travis. Her household is fine. They're moving on past it. Why is it such an issue for you to like clinch onto it and be like, I don't know. It's just, I'm angry with her. What are you angry with her for? She made the decision to cheat. Why is that triggering you so much that you are like, you're trying to make this like your storyline of you having such an issue? Because then we do a flashback scene where we got Gina looking like a reject from Jen and the holograms. And I'm like, girl, Gina looked like one of the girls, one of the misfits. And it's funny because I have not watched that show in years. I remember that show being on Discovery Plus when I was younger, and I would watch it, and I'm like, that is what she looks like. So I'm just like, what is this, girl? So they're sitting there and they're like, I'm just like, I don't understand. I think that's what it is. I just don't understand why we're so like, we're harping on this. But we find out that Gina's trying to help Matt get his felony charges dropped because I guess it's putting a financial strain on him where he can't provide the way he wants to for his kids, which having felony charges does make it difficult for people to own and buy and do certain things. But my thing about it is I don't know if I would be helping somebody who beat my ass because I got mad at them for cheating on me, get their felony charges dropped. And I get it that, like, prison is, like, the justice system, even though we know the justice system is trash, the goal that they swear it is supposed to be is to help rehabilitate people and make them more productive citizens of society. And maybe Matt has been doing that with him taking accountability for what he did to Gina, for him stepping up in his family life, like his kids' lives and his life. I don't know, but I don't know if I would be helping somebody who physically assaulted me out getting their felony charges dropped. I am not that. I don't care that much. I would let you struggle, even if we done got cool. I don't know. That just could not be me. But Gina is acting like she is so up in arms about Jen and this whole cheating situation. We then see this scene of Tamara and Taylor going out for drinks and dinner. And they end up talking about Heather and the whole acting situation. And Taylor is feeling some type of way. Taylor feels like Heather is pretty much being like condescending towards her about this whole acting situation. She's like, I offered her a part because I found out that one of the actresses who's supposed to be a part of the film dropped out, so I was trying to help. She was like, and I know Heather does acting. I thought this would be a great opportunity. But, when I told her like about giving her the opportunity again, when I brought it up at my house, she was like, oh, that's cute, being condescending. And now Taylor feels like, I feel some type of way. I feel like she's basically laughing in my face and she feels too good to be a part of this. She was like, she didn't even take the script home, even though I told her to take it home. She was like, and when I feel insecure, I start to joke about things. And I was like jokingly telling her like, girl, you better take that script home. And she left it at my house. And I'm like, if she left the script at the house, that should have been an indication that she don't want it. And let it go. So them being shady, they actually pull up Heather's IMDb and they are like really like, they're being critical. They're being super critical. But I think Tamara ends up telling Taylor, like, you should talk to her when we get to Montana. So we see the ladies all arriving at the airport. We find out that Emily, unfortunately, got the vid. So she not coming to Montana. And Gina feels some type of way because that's her girl. And now she ain't got nobody to spoon with. And she feels some type of way. So they get to Montana. They have two places where the ladies can stay. They can either stay in this bunker place, or they called it the bunker, or they could stay in the villa. I would have been in the villa. Ain't no way I'm sleeping in a, what's it called? In a bunk bed. I'm not doing it. Even though I can fit, that just wouldn't be me. That would not be me. So they're all like getting ready because they're about to do that day's like activities, which is going to be bull riding. They flash back to when Heather had that her bull riding, her western theme party, and she flung Tamara off of it. They also bring up when Tamara was driving, when I forgot where they were, but they were doing like the sand dune riding, and she flipped the sand, like the ATV like car situation, and Heather was like, Tamara, I don't know if I want you to drive. And Tamara was like, you flip one vehicle and they never let you forget it. That was bad. I remember when that actually happened, and I was like, they lucky that didn't nobody break their neck or break an arm, because it was like a flip. It was like a flip, and then a stop. The way I would have been stressed, probably would have peed on myself. So Shannon's being Shannon, getting worked up, trying to get her makeup going. And Tamara's hoping that this trip brings them closer together. I guess it might work. So they all sit down to at the table to eat after everyone does the whole bull riding thing, and they all talk about things that, like, they bring up the whole bonding thing of like, oh, tell us something that nobody knows about you. So Taylor brings up that she's bisexual and that she had a 5-year relationship with a woman. Everyone's surprised. We also find out that Jen was a flight attendant. And then Tamara brings up about like having a Ouija board with Ryan's father when she was younger with her mom, and asking the Ouija board a question, and it kept telling them that Tamara was pregnant, and she was like, at the time she didn't know she was pregnant, but they're all bonding and stuff. They then have a scene where we see Shannon leave the table, and she was like, you guys, I gotta leave. The person that's supposed to watch the girls, she didn't show up. And they're like, well, girl, aren't your kids like 18 and 19? Why do they need a babysitter? And then everyone's like, well, why is John not watching them? She was like, I gotta go. I gotta get the phone call. And we find out that nothing like that whole somebody needing to watch them wasn't true. Shannon just needed a reason to get away from the table. She should have just said, I gotta go pee. But while she leaves the table, everyone is like, why is John not watching the girls? Why is he not checking up on the girls? And what's her name? Heather's like, well, maybe she not 100% in, even though they've been together for so long. Like, maybe she not there with it yet. So we end up finding out that Shannon dresses up like a Western saloon, like burlesque kind of brothel lady, and she ends up bringing out shots to them. Everyone is giggling. They all thought it was cute. We know Shannon likes to have a good time when she's on vacation. Last season she was wearing a bear costume. This season she got on this outfit, and they're having a good time while everyone's doing shots and like sitting in the little saloon area they have in the building. We see Heather and Taylor having a conversation, and Taylor pretty much tells Heather that she felt some type of way about the way she was acting about the acting situation. And Heather's like, girl, that's your opinion of the situation, not mine. I haven't been acting like I'm better than you. I haven't been speaking negatively or disparaging about you. It's just that there's more to you just offering me a part. Like, you giving me this part doesn't mean that I get the part. Like, there's checks and balances to how someone becomes a part of a movie. And Taylor's like, well, this is my first one, so I don't know. And Heather's kind of like, yeah, you don't know, so why are you mad that I don't want to participate? And Heather's like, Taylor's like, well, if they get in contact with you, if the casting director or the director gets in contact with you, will you audition for it? And Heather's like, I'll read the information, I'll look over it, and if I'm interested, I'm interested. If I'm not, I'm not. I'll take it seriously. And I guess that's all at that moment Taylor wanted, is her to admit that she'd take it seriously. While they're having that conversation, you see Tamara and Shannon having a good time, and like they're not even arguing, they're laughing, they're drinking, they're just having fun. And Shannon is like, it feels like what happened 2 years ago didn't even happen, but I got my good eye on Tamara. And if I was Shannon, I would feel the same way. So as they're all about to go sit down and I guess like just hang out, play games at the table, I think Tamara asks Taylor, like, well, does she know she has to does Heather know she has to audition for the part? And Heather's like, what do you mean I have to audition for the part? I have been an actress for years. Why do I need to audition for a part? And you didn't have to audition for anything. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. And everyone's kind of like, this is a stupid argument. You got Gina being like, this doesn't make sense, in the worst Valley Girl accent ever. You got Shannon being like, I can understand where both ladies are coming from, but Heather is kind of coming off condescending. And Heather does have a tinge of that at times. She does. And while they're sitting down at the table, Tamara kicks it off by saying, well, Taylor, you have to be honest that we did look up Heather's IMBD. And Heather's like, what do you mean? And Taylor's like, well, I went to the casting director and I said that you were interested in the position, but I'm like, I don't even know if this would be something you're interested in, and I don't really want to look like an a-hole. So I looked up your IMDb, and Tamara says that Taylor says she wasn't really impressed with the IMBD. And that really that really sets Heather off, because Heather's like, girl, how dare you? You begging me to be in a part of a role that I don't even want to be a part of like that, really, and you and your feelings about it, but yet you don't think my work prior to that is any good? Because then Heather brings up that, like, girl, I was on the show for 22 episodes. And I think Taylor's like, yeah, 22 episodes. But the way she said it was kind of condescending. And Heather's like, that's no laughing matter. Like, I was on there for 22 episodes. What have you done? And the fact that you looked up my credentials and then tried to, like, rag on them, F you for that. And everyone at the table is like, ooh. And the funny thing is Heather wrapped Taylor up so perfectly, and it's sad because Tamara threw her under the bus. Tamara threw sis under the bus, and Taylor was not expecting that from Tamara, because she kind of was like, oh, okay. And Taylor really didn't have nothing to say to Heather, because what Heather said was true. Like, you're begging me to be a part of a production that you don't even have the authority to put me in a position. Now you're telling me I have to do all these auditions and a casting tape, and you're mad about me not wanting to take the job when it is not your position to offer to me. So what we doing? And pretty much what it boils down to is Taylor felt bad. She felt like Heather was ragging on her, so she wanted to rag on her back. So that's why they was critiquing her IMBD. But we'll see what happens next episode. So yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. If you made it this far, thank you. Hop down in them comments below. Give me your thoughts. And subscribe if you like what you heard. Deuces.